before we get into the nitty-gritty of things, I wanted to introduce you to who I am and what I'm about. Now, you may have noticed I have a little bit of an accent, and this is because I grew up in the island of Trinidad and Tobago, more specifically Trinidad. And both of my parents were in New York. Now, these countries have very different dynamics, but they're both very supremely creative places to be in. Now, when I first started dabbling in makeup, I immediately fell in love. Like many artists, I started off working at MAC, became the product specialist, and then I decided to start my YouTube channel. Now, this was back in like 2011, around there. And I made a video called Are Your Lips Too Big? This was an act really to boost the confidence of others, as almost every day I had clients coming in sharing their insecurities and not wanting to wear bright lipsticks or any lipsticks at all. And it was then when I realized that being a makeup artist was not only about the actual application of makeup. After a year of working at MAC, I walked into work one day and I told my manager, a friend of mine still, Melanie, she's like, I told her I want to take a sabbatical. I want to go to New York for 3 months. She turned and looked at me and she said, why would you go to New York for 3 months? Why don't you just move? So I wasn't ready for that response, but it really sparked something in me. So the more I began to fall in love with beauty, I realized that there were key things missing. I would be searching high and low, and there was a lot of information out there. This is when the beauty community, especially on YouTube and stuff, really, began to become a thing. So I decided to create my own content on the things that I couldn't find. Now, there were some times where, I would ask a question I would ask questions, or I would see people ask questions, and, people wouldn't want to share. It was kind of like a secret. And, I guess this was a thing, artists kept all their ideas a secret, but as time and technology improved, everybody wants tips and tricks and tutorials. And I found that, okay, well, I'm experiencing all these different things. I'm going through life as a makeup artist, and I'm learning things along the way. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to share all these things that I learn. So my first videos were, how was it like backstage fashion week? Because that was something that I couldn't find. I would go and watch all the little behind the scenes videos to see like what it was like. I'm seeing the makeup artist prep, but I didn't see anybody talk about what's it like? How do you get back there? And when I first moved to New York, I took a class with Crystal, right? She's a business development coach. And I learned the business side of things, but there were certain things that were still missing from the artistry side and even certain parts of the business side. So, I feel like education has really grown and expanded, and there are all these things out here now. But when I started, I just felt like these things were missing, and the conversations were not happening. So this is how the life of a makeup artist was born. It was a YouTube series, and it still exists on YouTube. And what I was doing is like, okay, I'm in Paris, this is what's happening. First time at Fashion Week, this is what's happening. I need to show you what my kid is like, and I found that I got a lot of feedback from people saying that it was really helpful. And the thing is that it doesn't really matter what country you're in, because somebody could have been in any other country and I would have found that information valuable in Trinidad, even though it might not have applied to my market. Knowledge is knowledge. Been in New York for a little over 5 years now, and out of those 3 years I spent with MAC, and that's when I started to really assist, and I became the first assistant to Kabuki. He is an iconic makeup artist in the industry, and I had the honor of assisting him for many years, and that's how I was really introduced to the world of fashion and being backstage and traveling and things like that. And it was really an amazing experience, and I continue to share the things that I learned with my audience. Even now that I have transitioned into full time and I do a lot of my own projects now, I really want to make sure that people don't miss any part of my story, because I find when people talk about their story, they talk about the end. Nobody wants to talk about the middle or the beginning. You hear a little bit of the beginning, but you hear the success at the end. And sometimes you just have to meet people where they are. And that is really the purpose of the life of a makeup artist. I really want to have conversations about all the other things that we go through. When I was going to leave my job, I really was I was really anxious about it. A lot of people was like, don't quit your job in the fall, it gets slow. Oh, don't do it in the summer has no jobs. Oh, and don't do it in January. And I'm just like, so when do I do it? When? Because it was just like, okay, everybody's giving me all this advice, so how about let's talk about finances, let's talk about health, let's talk about all the different things that we go through, mental health, and all the things that really encompass our lives. And I've had people message me and ask me like, hey, how do I start a cosmetic company? Like, do you have any advice? And I'm just like, well, not really, because I haven't actually done that. But I appreciate that you've asked me, because you see me as a source of information. So I'll introduce you to somebody that can help you. And by the way, we will have interviews on things like that. So that's why I'm really excited about this podcast, because while we're talking beauty and all the different things, we're going to be talking about everything else that goes along with it. So watch this space for more episodes of The Life of a Makeup Artist. You can even join our Facebook community at The Life of a Makeup Artist, where we will be discussing episodes and having real conversation, and you do not want to miss out on that. If you're looking for inspiration, you can find us at The Life of a Makeup Artist on Instagram, and even have the chance to be featured using our hashtag The Life of a Makeup Artist. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.